Last year's March Madness was very interesting. Well, March Madness is always interesting, honestly. The games are always crazy competitive, there's always game winners, and there's always an upset. And the team that was doing the most of upsetting was the University of Loyola. A lot of people were even copping their t-shirts, their fan gear, but I don't care what you say. No one could have possibly seen this coming unless you're a real day one fan and you've been watching them throughout the whole season. They just got hot at the perfect time, and in most cases people always root for the underdog. If you click this video, you probably already know that Loyola shocked the world last year by making it to the Final Four. They were on top of the world and they will forever be an historical team. But all of that happened a year ago, and in the present day we don't really hear about Loyola as much as we used to. Where are they now? What's good, everybody? Welcome back. Now, as usual, I just want to take this time to shout out all my subscribers. Y'all keep me motivated to keep grinding these videos out for y'all. I just can't let y'all down. But for all my new subscribers, make sure you let me know that you're new down in the comment section. And make sure y'all follow me on all my social medias. As most of y'all know, I'll always be responding to my DMs, so don't be afraid to hit me up. And last, if you're into gaming, make sure you follow me on Twitch. I'm gonna leave all these links down in the description. But enough of all that talking. Let's get into this video. When you hear the University of Loyola in Chicago, you don't really hear about them having a big time basketball program. And leading up to that 2018 season, the last time that they made it to the NCAA tournament was in 1985. So that means that they were in a 33-year drought. And the game of basketball has changed so much since then. Times were just way different back in '85. I mean, Larry Bird was the NBA's MVP at the time. And they didn't even know about all the effective moves that NBA players use today. Moves like Euro steps, side steps, stuff like that. They just stuck to the fundamentals. And don't get me wrong, they still had talent, but that's just not gonna cut it in today's game. But anyways, you would think that Loyola wouldn't be able to compete in today's game due to the fact that all these big recruits were going to big time schools. But Loyola didn't let that affect them. For the 2017 through 2018 season, they felt that they had a decent enough squad, and they were determined to go far in the NCAA tournament. They were saying this all back in preseason, so of course no one was believing them at the time. So instead of just talking about it, they just started grinding. That was the only way they were gonna prove their doubters wrong. And just watching some of their workouts got me tired just looking at them. I gotta get back in shape, man. But anyways, they were going on win streaks throughout the whole season. They ended up finishing with 32 wins and only 6 losses. And most of the losses came from very close games. They were just determined that year. And the crazy thing is that they don't even have a go-to player. For the starting lineup, their highest scorer was Clayton Custer, and he averaged about 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. And the lowest scoring player in the starting lineup was Ben Richardson. He averaged about 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. So yeah, I know that basketball is a team sport, but they actually played as a team instead of just relying on certain players. In the first round of the NCAA tournament, they faced off against the University of Miami, led by NBA player Lonnie Walker. No one expected this, but it was actually a back and forth game, and it came down to the last seconds. Loyola was actually down by 1 with 5 seconds left. They passed it to Dante Ingram at the top of the key. He pulled up from 3 and hit the bottom of the net, helping them move on to the next round. The second round, they faced off against Tennessee, and it was basically the same outcome as before. Another close game and another game-winning shot, but this time it came from their guard Clayton Custer, and that shot led them to the Sweet 16. They were headed up against Nevada, and this was also a very close game. It was like they were just destined to win. And this time another teammate, Marcus Towns, hit the game winner. So it was 3 close games, 3 game winners, and it came from 3 different people. You may never see a run like this again. In the final 8, they played against Kansas State, but this game actually wasn't a close contest. Loyola dominated them the whole game. Moving on to the Final Four, most people were believing that the Cinderella story was going to be fulfilled, and that Loyola was going to end up winning the championship. But Michigan University had other plans. They wasn't just going to let that happen. They didn't care about your background story. They were just here to crush dreams, and that's exactly what they did. They ended up beating them 69-57. And just like that, their historic season was over. Even though they ended up losing the game, they still overachieved and proved everybody wrong. So I can honestly say that they had a very successful season. As for now, in 2019, they didn't really make it to the actual tournament this year. They didn't qualify because they ended up losing their conference tournament to Bradley, 53-51. So I guess all those close game wins from last year came back around. They weren't terrible though. They actually finished the season with a solid record of 20 wins and 13 losses. But they very much reminisce on what they could have been if they went all the way. They even made a mini documentary about it on YouTube called The Year After, so make sure you go check that out if you want some more in-depth details on it. One of the players that was on the team was Dante Ingram, and he's actually in the G League right now. He's the one that hit that game winner against Miami. He plays for the Dallas Mavericks G League team called the Texas Legends, so hopefully he can get into the league and keep that Loyola legacy alive. But I don't know the future, so we just gonna have to wait and see. Peace.
I gave him hope, said he named me the GOAT. Them youngest drowning fast and I'm trying to keep them afloat. I'm the one, you know them killers protecting me like the Pope. Got a voice, you better speak, opportunity not to choke.